So two things I've noticed. One, kids going to public schools, just living in this environment, Islam is a burden to practice because everything is haram. You can't go with friends and eat. Two, they also grow up with the idea of YOLO, you only live once. That's predominant in millennium specifically now.
Okay, so I'm going to remove the public school. I'm going to say environment.
Yep.
Okay. So here the environment, I guess, is pushing people because you want to go along with your friends. They're participating in things that because of your religion prevents you from participating in it. But also this whole idea that maybe religion is restrictive, right? And that you only live once, it's preventing you from living. Is that right? Now this is a whole, by the way, it's two different things, a bit of a bunch of misconceptions. And then the whole thing of I want to belong, I want to go along with my friends. That's a good one. I'm going to address one quickly. Yes, Ashir.
Yeah. I'm glad you raised this topic. I think it's a very important one. Among the family, the extended family, you may have different standards within each home. That is, with maybe the uncles and so on. So this child, of course, you want him to have a connection with his other family members. You want to bring him up in a strict Islamic way, but you also want him to know and to interact with his family members. And you take him to his uncles and to his cousins and so on. And within that environment, it's different. There are differences. Perhaps they listen to music. Perhaps they're watching TV and allowing the children on the phone and so on. A very loose Islamic environment. And you're trying to be very strict with them, keeping them away from certain things that may have a bad influence on them. Now, when they go to the home, the home of their relatives, their uncles, or perhaps the grandparent, one set of grandparents, they have to behave in a certain way. And when they come back here, they have to behave in a certain way. Now, they have no control over that situation, but the relatives, because of the different standards, they adopt these dual personalities.
I'm going to address that too. You had a
peer pressure.
So peer pressure is the same thing as pretty much the environment, right? So I'm gonna address those two quickly, and then we're gonna move on. I'm gonna see if other people have an opinion. But this whole thing, idea of the misconception that religion is restrictive, this is planted in our children and even the environment, even in college students, right? Or even even as adults, because they say everything is haram, 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 haram. Is that right?
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm going to give you two evidences that this is not true. One, actually if we have time I'll maybe mention three. One is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, in details, does He mention the halal or the haram? Halal. He mentions in details the halal, right? Wrong. Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say it's halal to eat chicken, it's halal to eat goat, it's halal to eat sheep, it's halal to eat camel, it's halal to eat cucumbers, it's halal to eat tomatoes, it's halal to eat pickles, it's halal to eat? Does He do that?
No.
Why? Because what? I can't hear you.
Everything else is halal.
Because so much is halal. This is the reality. So much is halal. It makes no sense. And it's not practical. It's not wise. It's not from the intelligence to start listing that. It's more intelligent to list what is smaller in number. Period. So this tells you which is more. Come on guys, which is more? I know it's early in the morning. Which is more? Halal. So to say that religion is restrictive, it's the opposite. It is not. Allah opened so much for you, but He told you, listen, these things are haram, don't do it. It's not because I'm being restricted, but it's because they're bad for you. They're not good for you, either immediately or on the long run. Now here's the principle we have to learn. Everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it mandatory or preferable, recommended, is good for us in this world and the hereafter, immediately or on the long run. And everything that is haram or disliked is bad for us in this world and the hereafter, either immediately or in the long run. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and knows what's best for us. But here's the other evidence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمْ الْعُسْرَ. Allah wants ease for you and does not want hardship. So He's telling you this is bad because it will cause you hardship. It is not that it's restrictive. It's saying you'll cause yourself harm. I care about you. Our argument sometimes is the same as that child that wants to play with that plug in the wall and put a knife into it. And you're preventing him. Why are you preventing him? Or her? Why? Because they're going to get shocked. Is that right? Now, does it make sense that child is thinking, what's wrong with my parents? They're so restrictive. What's wrong? They don't want me, they're not allowing me to kind of put this knife in the socket. What's going to happen? You only live once. I want to experience that shock and make it get a heart attack when I'm doing it. Does that make sense? But when you use that analogy, we're doing the same thing. Literally. Right? It just makes no sense. Now, subhanAllah, it slipped in my mind, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had also mentioned it in the Quran. He says, وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّ فِيكُمْ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ لَوْ يُطِعُكُمْ فِي كَثِيرٍ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ لَعَنِدْتُمْ. We know that among you is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If he would obey you, listen to you, right? لَوْ يُطِعُكُمْ فِي كَثِيرٍ, in many of the things you're suggesting, you will face hardship. You will face hardship. Because why? Because we'll follow our whims and desires. We don't know what is right, what is wrong. We will just keep on doing things. We'll see. And this is the end of it, right? So religion is not, that's a misconception, right? And you only live once is true. You only live once. That is true. Because you only have one chance to plant it the hereafter. And then afterwards, you have that second life. You only live once in this world, but then you live for eternity in the other world. That is true. So pick what you want to read, right? Now, for what the Sheikh had mentioned over there, it is a bit as the same as I mentioned. You know, the parents that might have, they call for Islam, preach for Islam, but practice something else, right? It's a bit of that, but a bit less. It has a bit more of an environment. But the way to deal with that is to teach that child that there are such things as sinners. And we shouldn't shy away from that. It's okay to teach them that our extended family may do something wrong. But you need to teach them at the same time compassion, right? That you want to, that you feel bad that they're doing this. That you feel, what's the word? Shafaqa. What's the word in English? Shafaqa.
Empathy.
Empathy. No, not empathy. Sheikh, shafaqa. Translate shafaqa for me. Slip my mind. Well,
Sympathy.
I guess sympathy towards them that they're doing something bad. You want to bring them to Islam. It's okay. You have to teach them that. Because they're going to face other Muslims around that are not practicing Islam as it should be. But as Muslims, we want to have mercy towards them and we feel bad for them. We want to bring them back to the realm of Islam. It's okay to teach them that stuff, right? To teach them that they're wrong and that you're right. We have to do that. And I know sometimes this is very sensitive, but also to teach them how, when to speak up, when to not. Because as children, you teach them, they'll be like, Grandpa, you're doing something haram, right? You need to teach them when to say that, when not to say that. All these things, but also you at the other end, not to be afraid to take the brunt of it when your child might even go out of hand and tell a relative that you're doing something that's haram. They'll be like, what are you teaching your kid? Well, I'm teaching what is right. Right? Either you're right or you're wrong. Right? Show me that you're right or you're wrong. They'll have no basis to argue. It just becomes emotional. And yes, that might isolate you, but you should be careful what you're doing. Right? Once you make that stand, it's very important because you're imprinting it on your child. You watch that you're standing for what is right. And so that is important. Now,
Sheikh,
yes.
I just want to add something to whatever you're saying. Because I am actually working in a public school more than 5 years. So what I'm seeing in public schools is huge amount of negative things our son or daughter, they're seeing in public school. There's a lot of negative things is coming with the technology, they're seeing, they're listening, they're, hearing on their way, So even if you teach your daughter or son, is not enough. You have to constantly reminding them every day. It's like, I have 2 daughters at home, what I do, sometimes when I sit with them during my lunchtime, eating with them, I try to tell some story, It's like a constant reminding them, It's not like you teach them, it's not going to be enough for them. They're going to forget because every day they're seeing the same thing, in the school, negative, So it's like you have to remind them constantly, like this is not how it works, Like I told my daughters, like when they go to school, I said, look, all the friends you are seeing in the school, they are not your friend. They are not friends. They are your classmate, but they are not your friend. This is what I try to teach them.
So that is true, but I'm going to summarize because we want to figure out what is because even when you teach, for example, your kids, this is right, this is wrong, it never guarantees once again that this helps. So there is one factor, right? One thing that really does matter that makes a person resist the environment. To be strong towards that environment. To be strong to say this is right and this is wrong, I'm going to stand my ground. Just one thing. What is it? Okay, which is called Imaan. The strength of Imaan. That drive, that internal force, is what really gives us the strength and the ability to face and withstand anything and everyone. It's what really gives us the power to be free from any sort of shackle. Whether it's environment, peer pressure, family that are doing something that is opposite, people that are doing contradiction. It is that factor that gives us our source of strength. And so which means that we ourselves, we need to build that Imaan in us. But we also need to install it in our children. And maybe perhaps we're not doing the best of job of installing Imaan, that Imanic raising, Imanic nurturing in our children. Maybe perhaps we're not doing the best thing. This is maybe why that behavior is happening. Even among ourselves, we're not maybe doing the best of job. But to give you a glimpse of how much Imaan can make a person be strong, I love what the Sheikh had recited in the second surah, because this is a great example. وَضَرَبَ اللَّهُ مَثَلًا لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا امْرَأَةَ فِرْعَوْنَ. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the example for the believers of the wife of Fir'aun. What's her name? Why her? I want you to think about her situation. She was a queen. Obviously from a class of nobility. Which means, how did she live her life? So how did she live her life? What, you guys don't know queens and noble people?
Luxuriously.
Honestly, if you don't know them, what do they look like in TV? Wait, you guys watch TV? Stuff. No, I'm joking. Be careful what you watch, though. No, how do people who are queens or a class of nobility, how do they live? Musab. They what? They get what they want, right? Right? My wish is your command. I just wish it. You better be here, right? What do they wear? Expensive clothes, the most luxurious, the best of fabric. They lie on the best of beds. What is their food like? Cholesterol free. We'll say the most, I wouldn't know if it's cholesterol free, but the most expensive, right? The most best type of food, whatever it doesn't matter if it's not in season, it's going to be shipped here. All right? They have the most, the worldly life. Now I want you to think of Asiya, the wife of Fir'aun. She is the king, she is the queen, she's the wife of the Pharaoh in Egypt. So she had that life. She was raised in that life, whether from parents or whatever the case is. Okay? And then her husband, how was he? He was a very just ruler, right? Who said yes? You're obviously asleep. The Fir'aun, how was Fir'aun? A tyrant, not just any tyrant. This is a person who was ready to kill children just to protect his throne. Infants. It didn't matter if the streets were flowing with blood. They were going to be flowing with blood just to protect him, his kingdomship. He would kill infants and enslave girls. يُذَبِّحُ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيِي نِسَاءَكُمْ, which means they'll keep them alive. Why? So that they'll be slaves. This is the type of person he is. If you looked at them in the wrong way, he would kill you. Not quickly. No, he would torture you to death. Now imagine, since we're talking about two-faced, we're talking about environment over here. Asiya, the wife of Fir'aun, was she a Muslim or not? Now how was her environment? Peachy, right? You better not. It was the worst of environment. Am I right or wrong? It's not like, she had to worry about bad friends or like, she had to worry about school. No, her husband, the entire staff. Like, and she seen examples. Like, for example, the one who would brush the hair of her daughter. When she mistakenly said Bismillah, and her daughter was, the daughter of Fir'aun was very sneaky. She said, do you mean my father? And she said, no, the Lord of your father, my Lord, and the Lord of your father, and your Lord. And so to make her stop, what did Fir'aun do? He brought her kids and burnt them one by one in burning oil. Right? So the wife of Fir'aun knows this. The entire staff is like that. Right? And so she knows if she had one or two choices, either openly declare Islam or put on the other face. Is that right? Now what did she choose? To declare Islam.